I am so late to the party on this one. I was actually planning on seeing the Rover several months prior, but I unfortunately could not get a hold of it, and now I have watched it, and I have to say, wow. For those who don't know, the Rover is more of a smaller Australian film directed by David Michaud. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. If not, I apologize. It takes place in post-apocalyptic Australia and centers on this guy named Eric. Now, Eric is this mysterious drifter, and he, like everyone else in the population, just wanders. He wanders without seemingly any purpose. Unlike many other post-apocalyptic movies, the world seems to go on, albeit with some difficulty. Stores still operate, opium dens still operate, people still steal, rob, kill. What makes Eric so different, Eric being played by Guy Pearce, is the fact that he seemingly has nothing left to lose. From the beginning of the movie, we don't really know that much about him. Until the end of the movie, we're left completely in the dark as to his motivations, except for the fact that he really wants to get his car back. His car was taken by a gang of thieves who were just looking for kicks and were looking for a getaway car. However, the younger brother of the thieves' leader is left behind, the younger brother played by Robert Pattinson. So Eric forces the younger brother to take him to where the thieves' hideout is. So now we have a movie. The first thing that might strike you about this movie is how, in several respects, it is kind of similar to the Mad Max series. Now, the Mad Max movies are great, and I have high hopes for the upcoming fourth one, especially since George Miller is back on the director's chair. However, this is very much a grittier and more realistic version of Mad Max. Sure, you have the deserts and the dystopian future and the cars and the Australians, but Mad Max, in essence, was always a very stylized version of a dystopian future. This is, actually what may happen if there was ever an apocalypse. At least in recent memory, this film has done the best job of conveying the true emptiness of a post-apocalyptic setting. The whole movie and its landscapes just feel so empty and desolate, like there really are not many people left. In fact, the atmosphere of this movie really reminded me of the atmosphere in All Is Lost with Robert Redford. However, despite drawing similarities to Mad Max and drawing atmospheric similarities to All Is Lost, the movie still maintains its own identity. I think part of that has to do with the performances. Guy Pearce and Robert Pattinson are fantastic in this movie. I've always thought Pattinson, at least if I'm grading on a curve, was the most talented of the main trio from Twilight. However, in this movie, he plays a character that he has never done anything like before. His character, Ray, is very needy, he is very slow, he's very juvenile in his demeanor. He is not very self-sufficient, he always needs someone to look after him. Now pair him with Guy Pearce's character, Eric, who, like I said, is this drifter, he is a loner, he really has very little left to lose, he is very desperate, he has distanced himself from everyone else in the movie. You would not think these two would work well off of each other, but they actually really do. Like I said, the performances are electrifying. Guy Pearce perfectly conveys the gritty nature that you want him to. Robert Pattinson is so pathetic. These performances are the type of really genuine performances that draw you in. You don't see actors, you actually see the actors disappear into the characters. I did not see Guy Pearce and Robert Pattinson, I saw Eric and Ray. Other actors in the movie, like Scoot McNairy, David Field, and Anthony Hayes, are all fine, but the movie really centers on the two main actors, Pearce and Pattinson. And it's a good thing that they both do an excellent job. Now, getting back to the atmosphere of the movie, this movie completely nails its atmosphere. There is an overriding sense of isolation that is prevalent throughout the movie. Said sense of isolation is strengthened by the fantastic cinematography. The cinematography holds on these shots for so long, giving you the impression that there is really not much left in the world that could be classified as exciting. And the way the movie shoots and handles anytime that Pearce murders someone or any other character murders another character, it's filmed and acted as if it's a very casual occurrence, which actually ties into one of the movie's themes about priorities in a post-apocalyptic setting. Guy Pearce's deal is that no one really cares about murder anymore, and this actually forms the crux of his character, right to the point where he tells Robert Pattinson, never forget about anyone you kill, because that is your punishment for killing them. This was a very poignant message, and the fact that this movie chooses to have us focus on one death in the midst of, again, an apocalypse was actually a really interesting move. It's the little things that count, I guess. In addition, the direction and the music further strengthen the atmosphere. If I had one complaint with the movie, though, it would be that it's a little slow, particularly around the second act. I think part of that has to do with the fact that the story is not exactly original. You basically know what's going to happen, if not from the advertisements, then from the way the movie sets up these events. But to be fair, the movie doesn't really dabble in these cliches too deeply. The way they handle them, it is very in line with this movie's very harsh landscape and very unforgiving nature. The way in which Pierce forms this connection with Pattinson is not cheesy in the least. In the end, The Rover possesses terrific performances from its two lead actors, sure-handed direction, an overarching feeling of emptiness that perfectly suits the post-apocalyptic setting, hauntingly understated music, and an appealingly gritty landscape that is realized very practically. There are a lot of practical effects in this movie, everything from the buildings to the cars. Like I said, there are a few points where the narrative dabbles in cliches, but these should in no way dissuade you from seeing The Rover. Check it out. It is honestly one of the better post-apocalyptic movies in recent years. Go see it.